Could you please introduce yourself and tell me what course you teach?
Okay, I'm Brenda Wilson, and I'm a professor in microbiology, and I'm the course instructor for Global Biosecurity, MCB 436.
When is your course typically offered? Fall, spring, summer?
It's always offered in the fall. It's a 1-credit course, so it's for general audiences, anyone that's a junior or senior.
Can you give me a brief overview of what is covered in your course and what are the learning goals?
Well, I'm going to start with the learning goals because the idea here is I wanted to find a way that scientists can communicate and understand the issues of non-sciences and vice versa, so that we can bridge some of the gaps in understanding scientific issues and scientific literacy. So the learning goals is to basically, whoever's taking the course, I'd like for them to be aware of global issues that are concerning folks from a biological perspective. So being able to understand some of the key issues that are happening around the world, like, genetically modified organisms, the issues at play, understanding, antibiotic resistance, how those are threats to us, foreign animal diseases, anything that deals with threats that we have to our health and our well-being. I'd like for those issues to be brought out, and then also have the students understand how you can research it and find the facts and understand where the big issues are and who the stakeholders are and who's going to be able to respond to those issues. And as scientists, how we can then help the general public who are not very scientific literate actually gain a little bit more literacy in these topics. And so make those connections.
What is the format of your course?
The format basically is I would call it a discussion, more in terms of the professors who come in. Some of them are guest lecturers, some of them are myself, where we try to actually present special topics on particular areas that are of concern. The folks that come in are experts in the field. They like to present some of their research or some of the topics that they're very familiar with and try to convey them in terms of the students being able to understand the key issues how this impacts them. And hopefully the way we set it up is that the students read a little bit of the material ahead of time, maybe a key paper or something. They get a general understanding of the topic, and then they come into class. And then during class, we have ways of engaging with the students so that they can understand what's going on, cover those topics. Then afterwards, they are given a little bit of a quiz to understand how, their knowledge and being able to apply it. And then the assignments in the course are setting students up to be able to go a little bit more towards interactions, so that they can actually learn what it's like to be a team investigators on things. So we start with something where you just learn a little bit about the literature and the nature of the types of literature that are out there. Ones where it's something that you have to actually do a little digging for to get the information, and the other way, flip it around where you have the information and now you're trying to convey it to someone else. And then building the team so that, again, you research a topic and then be able to convey it to an audience in some way. And so we have team-based projects that we have for being able to learn about certain topics that are of global interest.
Are there iClickers? Is that how you...
Yes, there's iClickers. Those are usually used as a vehicle to help engage the students so that we can make sure that they understand the topic, but also to see how they respond and maybe use that as a launching point for discussion and understanding what the topic's all about, and just to see what did the students think. And you can't always, in a course where you have 100 students, you can't always get everybody's opinion, and this way you can get a survey of opinions. And so it's fun for everybody to see how others are thinking.
How are students graded? Exams, quizzes, homework?
All of the above. Well, there aren't very many exams. There are some quizzes based on the reading and the lecture material. And then there's mostly assignments that are done. And those assignments are based, did you do the assignment? And did you, get all the elements that everyone was looking for? And then as a team, it's often, there's peer evaluation that goes on. So in addition to the TA and myself evaluating whether the project was actually completed and done correctly as instructed, and then our own sort of, assessment of how well it was done. But we also have a lot of how the students actually evaluate each other in terms of whether they thought that the communications that were being presented and projects that were done were effective.
How, historically, which portion of the grade breakdown do students struggle most with?
I think this time, I think where students actually had the most trouble with is realizing that they do need to work as teams, and that it was very important to get together with their teammates to figure out what's going on with the projects. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of students are used to doing things on their own, and getting that aspect, I think, was actually probably more of a challenge than anything.
Are there points associated with attendance?
Not specifically, but there are points associated with participation in class, and so and that's measured by clickers.
Are there any textbooks required for the class?
No textbooks, but all the students do have reading assignments that are associated with each of the lectures.
Do you provide students with PowerPoint slides or lecture outlines before class?
We have PowerPoint slide presentations that are available to all of the students, yes.
What kind of background knowledge do I need to take the course, or are there any prerequisites?
The prerequisites are pretty general biology, so I think it was like 150 was absolutely needed so that you have just a general idea. You needed to be a junior or senior because I would like to have the students coming in being a little bit more mature, so they have already taken a lot of the general knowledge basis that they need. And so I prefer to have juniors and seniors and even graduate students in the class where you can get better discussions.
How do topics covered in your course apply to current research / medical or scientific advancements?
They're all the latest and greatest. It's very, very current topics. We talked about Zika even, things that are right there in the news, highly relevant to today's world.
What opportunities do you provide outside of class for students to ask questions or get assistance?
We got a lot of that. So in addition to having office hours, myself and the TA, but we have a blog on the web course has lots of blogs. There's lots of opportunities to post questions either anonymously or as, an ID'd, to your fellow students. There's options to contact your fellow students if you have questions as well. So there's a lot of options there in terms of getting communications going.
And is there anything else you would like to tell us about your course? Why someone should take it or what to expect?
Well, I think that this is a very good way to get exposure to a lot of the key issues that are happening in the world today and see it from a perspective that's a little bit more rational in terms of scientific inquiry. So I think non-scientists certainly could benefit a lot from it. And scientists can certainly benefit from understanding the perspective of things like ethics, policies, laws, logistical issues that come into play in implementing a lot of the science that goes on and making those connections and communication, all of those that play into it. We're a world where we're not just sitting at a bench doing something.
I agree. Thank you.